section, the first page is all solving equals equations. Okay, then if you turn the page, turn it, look at the next page. Okay, instead of equals signs, they're like less thans, greater thans. That's where you have to shade the number line. Okay, so if you're looking at, let's say, number 4 here. Okay, what would I do first on number 4? Okay, we have a plus 1. How do we get rid of a plus 1? Okay, minus 1 and minus 1. Okay, 10 minus 1 gives us 9 left over, yeah? Okay, from there I have to get rid of the 3 in the front, so I divide by 3 on both sides. Because remember, you can't have any numbers outside of the bars when you split. So my 3 divided by 3 crosses out. 9 divided by 3 leaves me with a 3 left over. Okay, at this point, you're going to split if it's a positive number. Remember, it has to be positive. So if I'm doing this 3, I'm going to split into x minus 2 equals 3. X minus 2 equals negative 3. And then remember that when you split, the bars go away. That's how you get rid of them. Okay? Then you solve each of those little equations. So if it's a minus 2, what do we do? Plus 2 plus 2. 3 plus 2 gives me x equals 5 for my first solution. Then on the other side, plus 2 plus 2. Negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1. And remember, for v's, you always get 2 answers because the v is going to cross all the numbers twice, pretty much. Okay? Jump down, please, to number 6, right below it. What would I do first on 6? Okay, divide by negative 2. And what is 18 divided by negative 2? Negative 9. So I have x minus 4, negative 9. Then normally we would split. But if this is a negative, are you allowed to split? No. So, this is no solutions. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little star here. Cannot solve if an absolute value is equal to a negative number. Okay, you cannot solve if the bars are equal to a negative number. Now, if you're looking at one like number 8, look right below that. Okay, how would I get rid of the negative 2.3 in the front? Divide. But notice that on this one, the other side was already negative, and when I divide two negatives, they're going to cross out with each other and switch back to a positive. Now, that's not going to be a whole number, so get your calculator out. Okay, divide that out for me. So we want negative 10.4 divided by negative 2.3. Okay, rounded off 4.5, right? Okay, so this crosses out. I have x minus 1 equals. Okay, and then it's 4.5. We'll just round to 1 decimal place. And then from there, now that that number is positive, I'm allowed to split again. So it'd be x minus 1 equals 4.5, and x minus 1 equals negative 4.5. So remember, you're always splitting if it's a positive. Okay? I'm going to plus 1 here. What is 4.5 plus 1? 5.5. And then on the other side, if I add 1 to negative 4.5, it's going to come out to be negative 3.5. Okay? Now, I will just go ahead and give you a heads up that the one on your semester exam does have decimals and it doesn't come out to just be whole numbers. So take a second, solve number 7, and then we'll check the answers to make sure that you get them right. Okay, so number 7 right next to that. Okay, so just to make sure you're starting in the right place, what should you do first? The 0.2 or the 3.4? 3.4. And then you'd have to minus it. Okay, but you'll need to use your calculator on it because it's not whole numbers. Okay, so I minus the 3.4. I got 4.75. Then I had to divide by 0.2. Now, if you don't remember this about decimals, when you divide by a decimal, it turns your number bigger. So even though this was a 4, if I'm dividing by 0.2, that turns it into a 23. That's okay. When you divide by a decimal, it's going to get bigger. Okay, then from there I'd have x plus 125 equals 2375. And then I'd have x plus 125 equals negative 2375. And then from there you would minus the 125 off both sides. What does it come out to be on the first side? What is 23.75 minus 1.25? 22.5. And then on the other side, I minus 125. It's already negative. So that's going to make my number bigger. And what would it be? Negative 25. Good. Okay. All right, now look down at number 9. There's one just like this on your test. This is really more of like a science application. Okay, it says, in his physics class, Bob measured the mass of an object. The teacher knows the correct mass is 210. The percent error of his volume measurement is 1.2%, calculated using this formula. What is the equation that can be used to determine his measured volume? Okay, I don't know why they put a question like this on your semester exam. It's really more science than anything else. I think it's because they have these bars here, and what do the bars mean? Absolute value. Now, on the test, on your semester exam, you're not actually solving it. You're just picking how it should be set up. So, the percent error, look at the numbers they gave you. Which of those is the percent error? The 210 or the 1.2? The 1.2, so I would put 1.2 equals. And then they said that the correct mass is 210. Would I put that in the measured value or the actual value? If that's the correct mass. Actual value. So you'd put the 210 here and here. In the measured value, since I don't know what it is, what could I put? X. So it'd be x minus 210 over 210 times 100. And on your semester exam, it's literally set up exactly like that. It's not the same numbers, but it's the same idea. You're just picking the setup. You don't even have to solve it. Good? Okay, turn the page, please. Okay, so let's do some of the ones with less thans and greater thans. Let's start with number 11. What would I do first? Number 11. Can I split right now? Or no? Can I split with the 2 in the front? So I have to get rid of it. So I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. Now, if I was dividing by a negative, do you remember that this switches? Okay, so that's not what we're doing here, but just remember that in your head too, that if you divide by a negative, you switch to the side. Okay, these guys cross out. X plus 4 left over. Less than or equal to 12 divided by 2 is 6. At this point, you're going to split. But remember, if it's an inequality, two things change. You're going to change the 6 to a negative 6, and then do you remember that this flips as well? So it'll be x plus 4 less than 6, and then x plus 4 greater than or equal to negative 6. So when you split, two things have to change, the direction and the sign of the number. Okay? Then from there you solve both of those little mini problems. So minus 4, 6 minus 4 is 2. Then I'll do minus 4, negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. Okay? Then we're going to have to put dots on our number line. Will we use open or closed dots if they have equal to's? Closed. Very good. Now negative 10 is not on here, so just make it go back further. Okay, we'll put negative 10 right here. So closed dot on negative 10, closed dot on 2. And then remember, you're either shading, do y'all remember, away or together? So look at your symbols. If it's a less than 2, which way is that one going? To the left. Greater than negative 10 is going to the right. So are they going towards or away? Towards, you only shade in the middle. Yeah? Now remember that for interval notation, they're not going to show you a number line. They're going to make you pick either the parentheses or the brackets. So this would be from negative 10 to 2. And some of y'all on your test on Tuesday really seem to have a hard time with these, but at least this semester exam will be multiple choice. But you'd say from negative 10 to 2 because you're between the numbers. Okay? Alright, we're also going to do 13 right below that, please. Okay, 13, first thing I have to do is what? My negative 6 I have to divide, right? And when I divide by a negative, what do I have to remember to do to my symbol? Yep, it was a greater than, but now it's going to be a less than because I divided by a negative. So it'll be x minus 1 that way. And then negative 12 divided by negative 6 is 2. Now, if this number had stayed negative, would I be able to split? No. So you can only split if it's a positive, but that negative 6 kind of fixed it. Okay, so split your equation up. You're going to have x minus 1 less than 2. And then x minus 1 greater than negative 2. And remember, you're always switching the symbol, and then you're also switching the sign on the number. Okay, plus 1 plus 1. X less than 3 is my first inequality. On the other side, I'm going to plus 1 plus 1. X greater than negative 1. And then from there, I'll put open or closed dots on 3 and negative 1 for this one. What kind of dots will I use? Open. So negative 1 is here, 3 is here. And then remember, I'm either shading together or I'm shading away. You have to look at the symbols. My x is less than 3. That would be this way, 3 to the left. For x greater than negative 1, that's to the right, so I would be shading in the middle. Okay, also remember that is called a disjunction. Okay, and it would look like that for your inequality notation and your interval notation. Okay? Okay, I want to do 12 right next to that, so we have an example of a greater than. What would I have to do first on number 12 before I can split? Okay, minus the 1, good. 9 minus 1 gives me 2x in the bars greater than or equal to 8. Then I'm ready to split. It'll be 2x greater than or equal to 8 and 2x less than or equal to negative 8. Remember, you switch the symbol and you switch the sign on the number. Okay, then for both of these, I'm going to have to divide by 2 to solve. What will my first inequality be? Greater than or equal to what? Be 4, right? Because it's 8 divided by 2. And then on the other side, divide by 2. It'd be less than or equal to negative 4. Open or closed dots on 4 and negative 4. Which kind? Closed. Very good. So 4 is closed. Negative 4 is also closed. And now I want you to think about which way you're going to shade, and we'll do it in a second. Think about if it's together or apart. Okay, my positive 4 is a greater than, so you should be going that way, and my negative 4 has a less than, so you should be going that way. So rather than a conjunction in the middle, you have a disjunction. Okay? Then from there, my interval notation, this would be from negative infinity to negative 4. Union, and then 4 to infinity. Then for my inequality notation, remember, if it has a negative infinity, you should be doing an x less than. So this would be x less than negative 4, x greater than 4. On your semester exam, most of the questions are in this form, the parentheses bracket form. Remember, infinity should never have a bracket on it. Okay, and you determine whether it's open or closed based on if there's an equal to or not. Okay, we are going to do numbers 14 and 15. I want you to start off 14 for me, please. Actually, wait, no. Those are not the two I want to do. Turn the page. It's the next 16 and 17 I want to do. Okay, so start off 16 for me. What would I have to do first? Okay, subtract 16. What is 8 minus 16? So I have 4x negative 8. At this point, are you allowed to split or no? No. It's either no solution or all real numbers. Here's how you can remember. Absolute values, do you remember that they turn all the numbers positive? You remember talking about that? So if this is all positive numbers, is it going to be always greater than a negative 8? Is that true or is that false? True. Then that means it's all real numbers. Whole number line, I'm going to put that is always true. So for your interval notation, if it's all the numbers, you'd say negative infinity to infinity. And for inequality, you'd say x within all real numbers. Now remember, they're going to do this squiggle x bracket, or x bar. So I don't care if you do that for everyone on here, but just know that's what it's going to look like when it's multiple choice. Okay, now solve 17. Okay, what would I have to do first on 17? I have a plus 27, so I have to minus the 27. What is 2 minus 27? Negative 25. Okay, now think about what we just thought about a second ago. Absolute value, all the numbers are going to come out to be what? They're all going to be what? Positive. Yeah? They're all positive numbers. Can a positive number be less than negative 25? Is that even possible? Can a positive number be less than negative 25? No. So that would be no solutions. And remember, this is the funny one that they would put the empty set, because the number line is empty. You're not going to shade any of the numbers. Okay? So if your absolute value is greater than a negative, it's all real numbers. And if it's less than a negative, you'd say there's no solution. Okay? Last one we're going to do together is number 18. Okay, it says a measurement is only considered reliable if the percent error is less than or equal to 4%. So then it says the correct mass again is 120. So let's think about, for this part, my measured value I don't know. I'm going to put an x in. What's my actual value? The correct mass. 120 over 120 times 100. Now, it says that I want my measurement to be less than or equal to 4%. So if I put a 4% over here, I'm not going to put an equal sign. I want it to be less than or equal to 4%. Now, since the 4 is kind of on the weird side, do I want it to be facing the measurement, or do I want it to be facing the 4? Think about the alligator. It's going to eat the bigger side. If I want my measurement to be less than 4, which way should the alligator be opening? To the 4. Okay, so since it's set up backwards, you want to think about 4 needs to be greater than your measurement. Okay? The one on your exam, though, is not a less than or greater than, it's an equal to. Okay? So, your job is to finish the ones that we didn't do together. I'll have the answer key up here. Okay, if you were gone yesterday, remember that this is a test grade. Each one of them is 25 points. So if your grade is failing, this is kind of your last chance to try to fix it. If you need to correct your test, I'll tell you your test grades here in a minute. You can stay after school today. You can come in during lunch. I'll be here tomorrow morning, but that would kind of be the end. And then next week, you just need to focus on passing your exam. We're not going to go back and correct a bunch of old stuff when you have an exam that you need to study for. Okay? So you're finishing this. I'll call you guys up and let you know where your grade is at.